introduce Brad. So Brad, you are new to the business.
Yes, I am.
And what, about 5 minutes after you got your license, you already sold the house?
That's correct, pretty much. It was actually about a weekend. It was amazing. My broker Libby for RB Haley, I called her up back in November of last year, and I told her, I said, hey, look, I'm looking for a real estate mentor, and can you mentor me? And she said, of course. So I went to her office, and we met up, and we got all the paperwork out of the way even before I had got my license, and she started working with me and giving me tips and tricks on what I could do to go out there and market myself and get homes sold and get clients, and I was able to do that with her helping me, and right after I took my test and got my license, we already had a home that was in escrow. So I was able to get my first check and help my first client get their first house literally right after I got my license.
Isn't that incredible? I mean, some realtors try and they struggle for months before they get anything. And here's a guy, Navy.
Yes,
Medic.
Navy. Yes.
Medic. How long have you been with the Navy?
I was in the Navy for almost 6 years.
6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And where are you from originally?
From Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the Houstonian in him scared some people. I don't know.
That's exactly it. Everything's bigger in Texas.
That's right. Texas is bigger than
Is.
California. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you know that. So if you survive in Texas, you can survive in California.
Absolutely.
I know. And you guys in Texas, they're always talking about they want to have their state as their own country and stuff. So
We do talk about
yeah,
that.
I don't know. That's totally different.
Everyone in
phrase.
Texas is very prideful.
Yes,
They
I
like to
know.
say y'all a lot.
Yeah. and sometime in California, I feel like, yeah, but anyway, it's fine. So, welcome, and we want to wish you the best of luck and sell many more houses. All right, so we're going to go take a break, pay some bills. When we come back, I want to dive right into the market. I heard that people are moving out more than moving into San Diego County.
Absolutely.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, I want to talk about it when we come back, all right?
Okay.
All right, Eran Sinai with Darren, Greg, Brad Dette, and Elizabeth Gay. We'll be right back with you. Don't go anywhere. Brad, so before we get into people are moving in, moving out of San Diego, what does it take for someone to have a license for about 30 seconds and then to sell a house? How does that work?
Well, for me, I would just I would contribute a lot to my background prior to real estate. A lot of people get started in real estate in the business, and that's kind of their first go into business. And for me, I was fortunate enough when I was 19 years old, when I was in the Navy, I ran into a group of entrepreneurs out in San Diego, and they introduced me to a concept where I can buy a product at wholesale and sell it at retail, and I can build a team around it and make a passive income. And to me, that was very intriguing because in the military, our income is capped. We can only make so much. Mm-hmm. So there's so many people that were looking to make extra money, and I took that and I ran with it. And during that process, was able to do very well for myself at a young age, and met a lot of successful people along the way. Made a lot of connections and learned a lot about leadership, entrepreneurship, sales, and marketing, all that good stuff. So while I was doing that, I always thought to myself, man, it'd be amazing to get into real estate because I'm always networking, I'm always meeting people, and there's been so many times where I'll be sitting down with a client or I'll be working with people on my team and they'll tell me, hey, I'm looking for a house. And I would always be like, oh, well, you got to talk to this guy. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, man, why am I just referring them out? These are people that I'm friends with, and I would love to be the one to show them a home, and we're already friends, so it just works. So that's kind of how I was able to go out there and get my first home sold. It was just a friend of mine that I was already business partners with, and I feel like that's where a lot of my other business is going to come from. So if you're a realtor or you want to get into real estate and you're listening to this, I would suggest find something else that you're passionate about where you can meet people and you can network, so that way when you get started in real estate, you're not cold calling, you're not door knocking, you're not doing all these things that most people don't like to do. I haven't done any of that, and I have so many clients that are looking to buy homes right now, and just because of what I've been able to do in the past.
That's incredible. So having a lot of buyers that you mentioned, do you find that true? Do you find that people are moving out more than moving in to San Diego? And I know we also talked about the fact that with all that, we're still expecting a packed open houses in the spring and tough, fierce competition.
Absolutely. I feel like the reason why so many people are moving out of San Diego is because the home prices are rising so much. So for the average person, to buy a medium family home, you need to make over $100,000 really to afford something here. So that's why I feel like so many people are flooding San Diego. And really, I read an article recently where over 9,000 people last year left the county, which is pretty high. So yeah, I mean, unless you want to live, more northern San Diego, like Riverside, things like that, Temecula, that would be the more affordable areas. But here in San Diego, it's crazy. I remember when I was working with a client of mine recently to help him buy his home. we had to put in at least 3 offers to get the house. And the only way that we got the house was we put $7 over to make ourselves stand out, because there's so many people coming in with offers because there's nothing on the market right now. And especially when you're working with a client that is looking to buy an entry-level home, there's a lot of people that are like that in San Diego. So when something comes on the market, like literally within the first day, you've got people like begging you to accept their offer. So you really have to find a way to separate yourself, and you have to be good. And I think that's why it's great for a client to work with an agent, so that way they can do the negotiating for them and help them get the house. Because if you don't, I mean, it's slim pickings out there.
It is. So what's most important when I pick up from you is when you do get into it, you got to make sure you have a team behind you. Not only people like you, but someone who knows what you can afford to buy, and you're ready with your paper in your hand, have been qualified.
Absolutely.
Am I correct, Darren?
Yeah,
That's a key.
100%. Yeah, you can't just go in and a lot of these banks will just take a verbal application, tell you, oh yeah, you're going to be approved for this. A lot of the listing agents have gotten comfortable with that and seen that enough where there's certain banks they won't even accept offers from because they know that they're going to go into escrow. They've got 10 offers. They want to choose the strongest offer. And if you're working with a bank again that doesn't really do a proper job on the pre-qualification, they don't want to waste their time. They have plenty of opportunities to get that house in escrow and get it sold and move on to the next one. So you want to make sure you do that, as well as work with an agent that's aggressive and hungry, knows the market, knows how to do those little tricks like offering $7 over. I mean, things that are going to stand out. Make sure that they call the other agent, explain your story, why they should accept your offer, all those kind of things that make a huge difference. So you don't want to work with someone that's doing this part-time, your sister that is raising the kids and sells 2 houses a year. It's not the market to do that.
Now, let me ask you, I mean, obviously there's a fierce competition out there. What does it take to close loan quick? Because obviously I bet that one of the questions is how long it's going to take for you to close. Am I correct?
Yeah,
You guys?
absolutely.
So what do you guys do to make sure that you can close properly on time and not lose, your buyer won't lose the deal?
Well, I mean, one thing is obviously, like I said, getting all the documentation up front, getting tax returns, pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements. I mean, if your lender is giving you a pre-approval letter without providing them that stuff, then it's a bogus pre-approval letter. The other thing is just having a good team around you. That's why we're growing our team and expanding our team, so that when I'm here, when I'm somewhere else, that we have a team back in the office that are making sure loans get pushed through to close. We can close well under 25 days if we need to. That's why people choose cash over loans, because there's no risk of it not going through. So if you can compete, if you can make an offer at a 21-day versus someone else at a 30 or 45-day, obviously the sellers are going to choose that offer over someone else's.
And what do you do, Brad? So when someone wants to come and say, okay, I want to look at the house on your listing, do you first look at them and ask, well, have you qualified? What's your process like?
I mean, absolutely. It would almost be kind of not necessarily a waste of time, but if I were to take someone that was looking to buy a home and they haven't gone through the pre-approval process, I have no idea what they can actually qualify for. So essentially, we could just go showing homes and wasting each other's time, because sometimes people might think that they qualify for more when they really don't. And that's why it's so important to have an incredible team behind us that are out there sending out the pre-approval letters, because most time when you submit an offer, they want to see your proof of funds. They want to see your pre-approval letter. Otherwise, they won't even look at you as a real buyer.
Yeah, and we do that a lot. We do a lot of cross qualifications for some of our investors and flippers, and you can tell right away when the lender reaches out to you and says, "Hey, I need you to cross qual my client." If they can't send you everything within an hour or two, it's a major red flag. It means that they probably haven't even gathered that stuff themselves. So, from my side, I usually would advise the sellers that, hey, this isn't really a properly done pre-approval letter, so you might want to move on to a different offer.
Really? So you, and who issues those letters? You guys?
The loan officer does.
The loan officer does. Okay,
Yeah.
so Brad brings the clients that wants to buy a house, brings it to you. You go over the papers with him, you qualify them, you ask them the proper question. Do they have to give you actual paperwork?
Yes.
Okay. Based on that, you'll issue the pre-qual letter.
Yeah,
and
we
you
work
give it back.
everything up. We make sure that we at least run the automated underwriting system to see this is what your max pre-approval is. So maybe it's 400,000. So this is the max you're going to be able to go to. Don't go shopping for a $425,000 house that you fall in love with, because it's just going to waste everyone's time. And that's when you start having a lot of problems, is people get stressed out because they go and they find a house they're in love with, the bank told them that they're approved for that, they end up not being, and then it becomes a disaster.
Becomes an issue.
So,
Yeah. And do you see that a lot, Brad? Do you see people that you come to you that you look at the letter and you may not be happy with what they have to show you?
As far as pre-approval
Yes.
goes? Yes, actually, a client of mine that I'm working with now, she's actually from out of state, and you know, she's new to California. So welcome to California and San Diego, because where she's from, home prices are incredibly, like, much lower. So this is a shock to her, and you know, she's trying to buy. She wants to buy more on the coast and get like a 3-bedroom house. And I'm saying, okay, well, you're gonna need upwards of $500,000, and she's like, what? You know, and because she's from Albuquerque, you know, so it's a way different market out there. But yeah, I mean, you know, for her income that she's used to making, she thought that she'd qualify for more, you know, so she's shopping around in different areas, and I'm like, no, this isn't going to work. You're going to have to live East County, South Bay if you want to, you know.
And she's looking for beachfront property just as much as she looked at one in Albuquerque.
Right.
That's probably what it is. That is funny. All right, so before we go anywhere, I want to make sure I give Brad your numbers as well. So Brad Dette, again, is a realtor with RB Haley in Rancho Bernardo, and Brad's number is 832, as you can see, the still used phone number, 832-275-4423, 832-275-4423. You can find information about Brad at braddette.com, and Brad is B-R-A-D, Dette, D-E-T-T-E, right? braddette.com, and you can get all of Brad's information. And again, if you want to call Darren at the Greg McGrew team, Darren is at 858-220-5701, or you can check puremortgage.com, the website, correct?
yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so what I want to talk about is a couple of things people were asking, believe it or not. People talking about that lenders should be prepared for a new wave of HELOC. Okay? Think about that there, and I want to talk about that when we come back from the break. So I want to talk about the HELOC. I want to talk about what can they be used for. Can you buy a house with them? Can you not? Can you just take it out and go traveling around the world?
Yeah.
All those good questions when we get back. Aran Sinai here with Brad Dette, Elizabeth Gay, and Darren Gregg. Will be back with you in a few minutes. Welcome back. Aran Sinai here, Lunch and Learn Radio with Darren Gregg, Brad Dette, and Elizabeth Gay, and you too. Where the Streets Have No Names, today in 1987, you two entered with the album chart with this Joshua Tree album. That was today in 87, believe it or not. And you know, why am I bringing this song? Because, you know, we have a theme, why the song has to do with what we're doing in the show. So, you know, Bono actually visited Ethiopia after performing at Live Aid at the time, and many people assumed that the song was about that trip, because in Ethiopia, there's no names and numbers to the houses. However, it's not. It is based on Ireland, in Northern Ireland, where many cities are divided to rich, poor, Catholic, Protestant, etc. So by knowing where someone lives, you know what their social or religious or wealth and beliefs are. So the reason I brought it, because you guys, you know, based on, you look at people and based on what they want, you really can fit them into the proper neighborhood for them, based on what they can afford, what they preferable school system or whatnot. It really works the same as every country.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about that, talking about houses, mortgages, HELOCs. Are they coming back?
They're coming back slowly. I think they're used for a couple different things right now. One is obviously the rates are still really good, so most people are going to refinance and just pull cash out if they want to do that to pay off debts, or if they want to buy an investment property or do something like that. But when you already have a 3.5%, and you want to get 50 grand in equity to do something else, then a HELOC a lot of times is a better option, because you don't have to start over. You don't have to do the whole process all over again. And as rates go up, you know, they're going to start hitting 4.5%, 5%, 6% is kind of where they are historically as normal. People aren't going to get rid of the 3.5% to pull out 50 grand. So they can do a HELOC instead, access the equity. They're typically interest-only payments, so they're really cheap payments. The only kind of potential issue with them is some people, I think, can use them as a credit card. They rack them up, all of a sudden they have 50 grand in debt.
Yeah.
And then eventually the interest-only period will end, and then you have to figure out how to pay that back, or just sell your house. But that was part of the issue with the collapse back when, everyone was using their house as a credit card, and all of a sudden the values dropped where they didn't have the equity, and then you're stuck, and that caused a lot of problems. Another thing that you can do is we have a program you can go to 80% on a normal loan, and then you can take a 10% HELOC out for a jumbo purchase, things like that. It really can make it cheaper than getting mortgage insurance or some of the other options that are out there.
Okay. Now, when you talk about products, there's a product that and we talk about it all the time, but I don't think we talk about it enough. There's a product that is so advantageous to the people that can qualify for it.
Yeah.
It is so great. It's the VA, right?
Yeah, there's tons of people in San Diego that qualify for VA, active duty military. It's something that, Brad, as a former Navy person, that it's not always talked about as much as it should be on base and things like that. So I don't know what your experience is exactly on education when you were in the Navy, but maybe you can share something about that.
Absolutely. When I was in the Navy, I didn't learn anything about how to utilize my VA benefits. I actually contribute a lot of my success in that area by being around entrepreneurs, because they started talking about it, so I started doing my own research. And one of the things that I urge you to do if you're a veteran or you're active duty now and you're planning to get out is to really start filing for your disability, because that can play a factor when you're qualifying for a home. For example, if you have over a 10% disability rating, you can actually waive your funding fee with the VA, which can save you some money. And most people think, oh, well, I'm perfectly fine, I'm not disabled, like I don't have a missing limb or, a missing arm, so I'm not disabled. And that's not necessarily true, because what the VA is going to do is they're going to look at anything you've ever gone to medical for while you're active duty, whether it's acne, an earache, you get ingrown toenails, and anything that's caused or is, because of the military, they will give you a disability rating for that. For example, the military gave me a disability rating for having chronic ingrown toenails, for wearing boots all the time. I never had that prior to the military, and it's not like I'm disabled, but they pay me for that. And so there's so many different things, and I would advise you talk to somebody that's on the other side if you're looking to get out, that's kind of gone through that process, or you can even get in contact with me, and I'd be happy to walk you through and get that set up so you could make sure you qualify for the maximum amount that you deserve. I mean, you serve the country, so that's a part of your benefit. So,
and we're talking about on a funding fee for first-time buyers, 2.15%. So for every 100,000, that's $2,150.
That's a lot of money.
That adds up in San Diego.
Yeah, especially. Yeah, absolutely. So if you are a VA and you want to talk to Brad about that, you can call Brad at 832-275-4423, and he can guide you through it and then help you and let you know from experience what he did and how it worked for him. What are the advantages? I know VA loan, I wish I could qualify. Serving in the Israeli military doesn't qualify.
They don't give you that here?
They don't give me that. So what does that mean? I mean, I know it's a great product. We always talk about it, but what else? Give us some good things about VA loans.
Well, I think one of the things people don't realize is that you can buy multi-unit properties with the VA. You have to live in one of the units for at least 12 months, but it's something that's underlooked. It's a great investment opportunity. Most people in the military know people in their group that are going to be renting, and you can find easy renters. Obviously, it's an easy pool to choose from. You know that they're going to pay their bills because they get the BH. So that's a great opportunity. Then when you get new orders, you can always go buy another single-family residence, or you can go buy another primary residence that's a multi-unit. So
how long do you have to wait? Let's say that again. So let's say you are the military, you are in North Carolina, and then you are there stationed, then you move into another state.
You're supposed to wait. You're supposed to live there for 12 months, but I mean, if something happens and you get shipped off before you expect it, then you can work on that and get your entitlement brought back.
Okay, and it has to be your primary. Am I correct? Primary residence.
It has to be your primary residence.
Okay.
So I mean, how many times in 6 years did you get sent to a new base?
for me, it was because typically it's every few years you get new orders. So for me, I decided to stay in San Diego.
Okay.
So I got orders from Camp Pendleton to MCRD.
Okay.
So I stayed in San Diego, but I mean, technically it's new orders, so I could have done that.
Yeah.
Can you? That's a great question. So you take Brad here. He was in Camp Pendleton, and then he was stationed here, and then again stationed here. Can we then buy another house in San Diego?
Typically, they want you to go at least 60 miles.
Okay.
But it really depends. I mean, it's you could potentially make the argument. Say you bought a house in Fallbrook and you're working up in Camp Pendleton, and then you get sent down somewhere Imperial Beach, for example. You're looking at that's a a massive commute.
Yeah.
So you could.
That's
argue
interesting. I never knew that. I never knew that even if it's within the state, obviously you have to qualify, but you can get a second home. So, Brad, you should have gotten the first one in Fallbrook, and now should have gotten.
Yeah, we've got a lot of clients that own a house in Virginia, obviously, and then us in San Diego. That's where a lot of people are going back and
Of
forth
course.
from. So, yeah, there's a lot of people in that same situation.
Now let me ask you a question. So, say Brad is stationed in San Diego. Now he's moved to Virginia, and then back to San Diego, and then back to Virginia. Can he buy a new house every time he comes back to San Diego?
You'd have to get the entitlement restored, and that would probably be on a case-by-case basis on exactly the situation.
And I'm just
But
thinking
yeah,
of
I
an
mean,
entrepreneurial shape right
Right.
here to the VAs as they are in service.
they're trying to help the veterans, but obviously there's a point where they might say you're taking
Yeah,
advantage
it's
of the
like, come
system,
on,
so.
you already own a half of San Diego, man. You can't
Yeah.
buy any more houses.
Yeah, exactly.
You're pretty much done here. Right. So, Brad, what are your strategies? I mean, spring is coming. What are you doing now to get listed, to talk to people, to go out there? You got out right in spring. It's going to be havoc. People buying houses. What are you doing?
For me, actually, I like to start with what I call my warm market. People that I know me, that I have a solid relationship with. So, actually, last week I wrote over 150 letters to people that are in my warm market, and I mailed them out to just kind of promote me and offer my services to them. That's one way, but another way too is you can target certain types of clients that you want to get to, especially to help them list their home. For example, Mira Mesa, this is one strategy I'm going to do. In Mira Mesa, a lot of the people that own homes there are all first-time owners. They bought when it was newly developed, and they still live there. They have a lot of equity, so now would be the perfect time to sell because they can get top dollar. So what I would do is I would find those listings through the MLS or whatever strategy we're going to use, and send them a letter and offer to list their house and help them get top-notch dollar for it. Because if I list it and it's in good shape, we're going to get into a bidding war guaranteed, and it's going to give them even more value for the home. But the market's not going to always be like that. So it's the perfect time for people to start listing their home, and that's kind of my strategy, is to find that and just people that have a lot of equity and urging them to list now because they can make the most money on the
Yeah,
home.
it's not going to last forever. You don't want to be once you already start hearing about the market slowing down, there becoming more inventory on the market. That's really what's going to change the market here. And once you already heard about that, you've read articles about it, it's too late.
So, in other words, what you'd say is sell your house now. But here's my question. Because the market is so high, right? Sell your house, and would you say hold it for a little bit, wait, and then buy in a year's time? Or
There's different
go
areas
right-
that are going to be better investments. You can downsize. A lot of people are, their kids are leaving. They don't need a 4-bedroom house anymore.
Yeah, my son is leaving. Not yet, I'm trying to get him there. He's like, no, Dad, I think I'm good for now. He's a freshman in college. He's like, he doesn't want to go anywhere. So,
Doesn't want to pay the San Diego rent.
yeah, exactly. It's like, no, I'm good, Dad, I'm good. No, but he actually the other day just talked to me about moving in with a young guy who's going to buy a house with his dad's help. And, my son might move them in as a roommate to help pay the rent. And they'll do it together, whatever, buy together, whatever. And I'm like, wow, he's really going to move out. But I haven't had the talk with him. You're going to have to do your laundry now. I think that is going to kill the deal. I don't think he's going to do that and go back get his own food. But anyway, so where do you see the market? I'm going to put you right on the spot. Where do you think the market is going?
I think it's going to continue to go up. I really do, especially since it's a low inventory right now and more people are trying to get a home. It's going to increase the value of people's homes. So I see it going up. And one of the things I was going to mention earlier is there's some areas, especially in San Diego, where you can actually qualify for a 0 down, even if you're not VA. Most people don't know this, but there's a loan called the USDA loan in rural areas such as Fallbrook. And Fallbrook is an area that's continuing to get developed. So if I'm looking to buy a home as an investment and I want to live there first as a primary residence and then later rent it or move out, that would be a great area because it's 0 down. And if you obviously qualify for that loan, and then it's just going to continue to go up in value because they're still developing new things around it, which is going to make your home value go up.
Darren, what do you think in the Midwest? Where do you think the market is going?
I agree with Brad. I think it's going to be going up until people start deciding to sell. And the problem is always if I sell, what am I going to go buy? Where am I going to go to? Because the other houses are just as expensive. So until people start, getting, the income levels aren't really going up that much. So once people start making more money, we start getting more. There's a lot of foreign money coming in, so downtown's blowing up because of that. And I know a lot of the seniors are looking at moving downtown. They're retiring, getting rid of their homes. They want no maintenance, no yard work, all that. So I think now is a really good time before all those people start to sell.
We do. Brad, words of wisdom for the day.
For those of y'all that maybe you are looking to be a first-time home buyer, or you're looking to sell your home, you don't know where to begin, you want to get top dollar for your house, or maybe you're a veteran or you're in the military. One of the things for me is I wish I would have done when I was active duty is bought a house and take advantage of while I was active duty, because it's so hard to qualify once you're out. So if you find yourself in that situation, I would definitely love to communicate with you and be able to help you. You can reach me at my cell phone number. You can call me on 832-275-4423, or you can go to my website, braddette.com, BRADDETTE.com, and I'd be happy to work with you, answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Brad. Darren?
Just be prepared. It's a tough market. You want to have all of your ducks in a row, get fully pre-approved before you start shopping, and fall in love with something that you may not qualify for. And if you do find something, you literally need to write an offer probably on the car after you look at the house with your agent, because it's super hot and you want to make sure you're ready for that.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
So tell us, what's your words of wisdom? You have a lot of them, you haven't said a word, so we're going to let you now say.
There's a lot of stuff going on up here.
Right.
I just want to say, if you are in the market to purchase a home, reach out to the Greg McGrew team. We will take care of you and help you through the entire process. And you can find us at puremortgage.com, or you can reach me on my cell phone at 760-390-6884.
And that's Elizabeth Gay with the Greg McGrew team, and that was Brad Dette and Darren Gregg. So before we go anywhere, I want to make sure I thank you properly for coming on the show. So thank you so much for coming. It was so much fun having you here.
Appreciate it.
I can't believe time goes by so fast. And you know me, I can't finish the show without a little bit of trivia. I'm not going to ask you, I'm just going to tell you, because I learned not to embarrass people, because I would never know the answers. So today, in 1976, most people, as you know, were sitting at home using typewriters. There were two guys, childhood friends. One little guy who dropped out of Harvard to pursue a dream. His name was Bill Gates. And the other one was Paul Allen. And they found Microsoft, a company that makes computer software. Rest is history. Obviously, we all know, I'm going to tell you that despite ever increasing Mac sales, Microsoft still has an undisputed dominance over the computer industry. Now, what I thought, I'm going to end up with a few really crazy things about Microsoft. Because, people talk about his wealth and blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Microsoft, at interview, asked them the strangest question, off the cuff, crazy question while you're in interview. For example, you'll be interviewed for a key position, and then they'll ask you, why is a manhole cover round? Do you ever think about that? Do you know why, by the way? Because it can never fall in. If it was square, you can turn it upside down or different angle and it can fall in. A round will never fall in.
Oh, wow.
Never thought about that?
Never.
Yeah. Well, who would when you go to an interview, right? Or also, I got to tell you, Microsoft stock has split 9 times already. Wow. And I'm not going to get into the stats of what happened if it split, but if you would had a share and it never split, since it started at $23 or $21 a share, today it'll be worth $6,000 a share if it didn't split 9 times. Okay.
Wow.
Last thing, Brian Eno composed the Microsoft sound, with the window. He was a real musician, worked for U2, was involved with a lot of famous.
Wow.
And anyway, with that, I want to say thank you again, guys, for coming. Thank you again.
Thank you for having
Thanks
us.
so much, Brad, Darren, Elizabeth. Have a great day. I'll see you all on Wednesday.